talk to us a little bit about getting that itch for wrestling from the cubicle. You know, you had your idea of where your life was going to go, but when exactly did you get bit by that wrestling bug?
Well, I think you touched on it earlier. It's always very difficult to follow in the footsteps of a great man. And as great as my father was, it didn't quite end so well for him. And I think because of that, there was a lot of pressure from my family and my teachers and my coaches to pursue a more of a mundane lifestyle and to go to college and get my degree and all of those things. So I kind of put wrestling in the back of my mind. I tried not to connect with it too much until I got older. But it was getting through college. I wanted to prove to myself that I could do that. That's my father never actually finished, never graduated. My mother didn't finish either. So it was kind of a family thing to kind of get that diploma and show that I could succeed at being a normal, for lack of a better word,
Yeah.
person. And I think when you're there and you're like, oh, okay, well, this is it. You know what I mean? This is going to be my life for the rest of my life. 9 to 5 every day. I'm going to sit in this chair and I'm going to answer phone calls and I'm going to solve other people's problems. Well, I quickly realized that wasn't for me. I was spending more of my day at the office on YouTube,
Yeah.
watching wrestling videos and figuring out that, wait a minute, there's actually a world outside the WWE. I don't actually have to be an NCAA or a freaking NFL draft pick to make it. I saw what Cody Rhodes was doing. I saw what the Young Bucks were doing and Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho going over to Japan and creating all that. And I thought, wow, this wrestling world is so much bigger than I thought, and maybe there is a chance for me to kind of break in and see if I like it.
Right. And I seen you speak a bit about those memorial shows.
Mm-hmm.
Now, are you in attendance of those shows? Are wrestlers speaking to you about how old were you? Talk to us a little bit about those.
So I was like between the ages of like 5 and 8. We did like 3 or 4 of those shows, and that was my first real exposure to it. I was really young, so I wasn't really able to grasp sort of what the business was and all that. But I remember just being around Mark Henry and the Hardy Boys, and my first ever wrestling entrance was at one of those memorial shows. Me and my little sister, we came out with the Hardy Boys, and we got to like feel that like coming through the curtain kind of pop and stuff. But it wasn't long after that those were sort of used as like a way to raise money for our family and stuff. And then once they stopped having them, I kind of was more or less disconnected from the business after that.
Mm.
And again, the way that we were raised, was more or less not to be, associated with wrestling. We were kind of, annexed from it in that way. But no, I mean, those memories are still very fond to me. I remember meeting Ric Flair, Gold Dust, a lot of those guys, at a young age. And it was really cool to look back on those memories. And, part of me wishes I had started sooner. But also everything happens for a reason. And I don't know if I'd be where I'm at now if I didn't take the path that I took,
Watch new episodes of No Contest Wrestling every Wednesday or listen wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to follow us at No Contest Wrestling Podcast on Instagram.